Is this the end of everything? Jungkook's farewell moment with the military chef staff not only made the army cry, but also broke the hearts of the army around the world. What exactly is happening in the military kitchen today? Why does this breakup feel deeper and more emotional than we ever imagined? Is this a sign that Jungkook harbors an unhealed wound from his military service? It happened today. Jungkook's personal farewell to the military will surprise you. Heartwarming moment of Jungkook's farewell to Army's surprising military chef staff. Are you ready for a broken heart today? Because if you haven't, this news will probably hit deeper than you thought. Today, in a supposedly ordinary corner, a military kitchen that has been closed from the public spotlight, a moment occurred that cannot even be expressed in simple words. Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS who has been known to be strong, cheerful, and professional in every way, has finally shown his most fragile and human side. And that makes it all so much more emotional. Are you ready for a broken heart today? Because if you haven't, this news will probably hit deeper than you thought. Today, in a supposedly ordinary corner, a military kitchen that has been closed from the public spotlight, a moment occurred that cannot even be expressed in simple words. Jungkook, the youngest member of BTS who has been known to be strong, cheerful, and professional in every way, has finally shown his most fragile and human side. And that makes it all so much more emotional. The moment took place not on stage, not in front of thousands of cameras, but in front of someone who is almost never mentioned, a staff of military chefs who have been quietly an important part of his days of service. What really happened in that personal breakup? Why can only those in the kitchen watch the tears fall from Jungkook's eyes? Does this farewell hold a deeper story than just a thank you? No one ever really thought that the most heartbreaking moment of Jungkook's enlistment would occur behind the aroma of war. One ever really thought that the most heartbreaking moment of Jungkook's enlistment would occur behind the aroma of warm broth and steam from steaming rice. But that's where everything happens. As the army waited patiently for news of his official release, Jungkook secretly prepared a farewell for people who never even appeared in his social media posts. Why? Because for Jungkook, they are not just food providers. They are silent witnesses of loneliness, pressure, and an inner journey that only he himself knows how it feels. This morning, when the kitchen staff had not finished preparing the last breakfast to be served to Jungkook before he left the barracks, a black-haired soldier in a neat uniform came in quietly, carrying something they had not expected. Not food, not official mail, but a bundle of white cloth was neatly wrapped around it, and inside it, tucked away, was a small hand-drawn painting that Jungkook himself had made. On the back of the painting, it says, "To those who always warm the heart, even more than just warming food. Thank you for being home in a strange place." Can you imagine how quiet the kitchen was? Even the sound of pots clashing suddenly became silent. One of the staff chefs, an old man who used to cook warm chicken soup every morning, looked down, unable to say anything. He just stared at Jungkook, and his eyes, the eyes of a grown man who had worked for the military for decades, were wet. "I didn't know that celebrities could have hearts like this," she said quietly. "What's more surprising?" Jungkook bowed deeply. Not once, but 3 times. A form of respect that is not done. What's more surprising? Jungkook bowed deeply. Not once, but 3 times. A form of respect that is not done to superiors, but to people who have been secretly keeping themselves strong. Why did Jungkook choose this place to say his most personal goodbye? Why not on a huge base, in front of the commander, or in the middle of a ceremony full of cameras? This is the question that now haunts millions of ARMY. Is this his way of showing that behind his glittering world, there is a part of him that has been harboring loneliness? All this time we have only seen bits and pieces of Jungkook's military news spread. Some short clips, official photos, reports from training. But no one really knows how his days went. Who is there to accompany him when night comes and the world is silent? Who gives him food when he seems too tired to talk? Who listens if one day he just wants to be silent? The answer is now slowly being revealed. They are the chef staff, simple people who never expect the spotlight, but receive every unspoken emotion from Jungkook. Does this mean that Jungkook experienced something during his service that was harder than we could have imagined? And was his little gift a hand-painted one made with vague details and watercolors, a form of expression of a feeling he couldn't put into words? ARMY on social media immediately uproar when he heard this news from a military officer who shared his anonymous ARMY on social media immediately uproar when he heard this news from a military officer who shared his anonymous story in a closed forum. I saw firsthand how Jungkook didn't stop crying while talking to the head of the kitchen. He didn't say much, just, "Thank you for quietly taking care of me." Then she cried. These are not celebrity tears. Those are ordinary human tears. Have we been too busy waiting for the comeback stage to forget that Jungkook is going through the quiet? Have we been too busy waiting for the comeback stage to forget that Jungkook is going through the quietest phase of his life? Do we think he's okay just because he looks strong? Today it's proof that even someone as strong as Jungkook needs a place to lean, and he found it in the most unexpected place, in the military kitchen. Behind the soup steam, behind the small dining table, behind the laughter of the kitchen staff who may have been his protectors in silence all this time. You know what happened just before he left? The kitchen staff gave Jungkook something. A small container wrapped in a shabby yellow cloth. What's in it? A piece of kimbap made by the head of the kitchen himself, with a small note. For your way home. We will always pray for you, our precious son. How could someone not shed tears after hearing this? Now that the world knows, Jungkook's separation from the military is not just about an official discharge, but about the soul. Now that the world knows, Jungkook's separation from the military is not just about an official discharge, but about the soul that says goodbye to the place that was once a protector in silence. And as he stepped out of the barracks today, he left behind not only his uniform, but also a piece of his heart. The question now is the ARMY really ready to accept that Jungkook may have changed? Who may have kept the wounds and lessons of those silent spaces that were never exposed? And the most surprising of all this, some of the kitchen staff claimed that they had heard Jungkook speak softly the night before, when everyone was asleep. I wish you knew how important your presence is in my dark days. Does this mean that there was a dark period that Jungkook went through during his malade? Not many people know that that night, Jungkook did not sleep in his barracks bed as usual. He chose to sit quietly in an empty corner of the kitchen, a place usually filled only with the clinking of pots and the smell of grilled meat. The evening turned into a space full of memories and whispers of the heart. Internal CCTV cameras recorded his figure sitting cross-legged in a dark gray hoodie that partially hid his face. His hand didn't stop holding something. A little photo, not a picture of his family, not a BTS member, but a photo of a middle-aged man in a white apron, head of the kitchen. Who exactly is this man to Jungkook? In many stories that have never been published, this man is said to be known as the kitchen father by young soldiers. A simple figure who always welcomes anyone with a smile, but secretly keeps a habit of paying attention to anyone who does not seem okay. And Jungkook, even though he was always smiling in front of his commanders and fellow soldiers, couldn't hide his fatigue and inner wounds from the old man's eyes. The question is, what kind of wounds did Jungkook get in the military? Is it because of the pressure of being a global idol in such a different military environment? Or are there hidden events that make Jungkook not only feel lonely, but also feel destroyed? Some rumors say that at the beginning of the training period, Jungkook had a panic attack in the middle of the night. Not because of the fear of the military, but because of the guilt that gnawed at his mind. The feeling of having left the army, of having failed to become the perfect golden mean, and of realizing that for the first time in his life, he was nobody in the eyes of the outside world. Then who met him first as he sat limply outside his barracks room, trying to hold his own breath? Not an officer, not a doctor, but the kitchen staff. Head chef, with rough hands and full scars due to the harsh military kitchen. The man just hugged her without a word. And since that night, Jungkook began to come to the kitchen more often. Not to ask for extra food, but to simply sit, help peel onions, wash dishes, and listen to the life stories of those who are not usually listened to. Is this what makes him so attached? Is this the reason why today's separation feels so much more than just a discharge? What makes it all the more painful is the fact that the kitchen staff themselves turned out to be keeping a big secret. He's sick. early-stage stomach cancer, which he had been hiding from everyone, including from Jungkook. The days after his departure from the military were supposed to be days of complete freedom, right? But why does the army feel any different from Jungkook, who came home? Jungkook did show up at the airport as usual, surrounded by crowds, camera flashes, and the cheers of fans who had missed him beyond measure. But the expression, not an ordinary idol. His smile doesn't come easily. His eyes seem to sweep one face at a time with a searching expression, something. Or someone, was he looking for figures from the military kitchen? Did he expect to hear the voice of the chief of staff who used to call him Jungkook? But in reality, there's only the old world that again demands it to be perfect. Studio, stage, camera. The world he left behind was temporary, but now welcomes him as if nothing had ever happened. But you'd be wrong to think Jungkook came back empty-handed. He brought something from the kitchen. Not just memories. It's a personal mission. And here's the part that many people don't know yet, and will surprise you. A few days after his return, Jungkook secretly contacted his agency with an unusual request. He wanted to make a small project, but this project will not be announced to the public just yet. He doesn't want the media. He just wanted to rebuild something. And what made all the HYB staff speechless was when Jungkook said, "I want to open the kitchen." The kitchen is like that place. At first they thought he was joking. But note, it's really serious. He even presented a rough sketch, a simple kitchen plan, with a large window, an open courtyard, and a shelf full of old cooking utensils. And in the middle of that plan, there was one long wooden bench, just like where he used to sit every morning listening to stories from the military staff. Above the sketch, he wrote, "Not a restaurant. It's home. Not a business. This is a place to learn to be human." Can you imagine what this means for Jungkook? An idol known for hard work, impeccable looks, and unattainable standards, she now wants to build a place where she realizes she doesn't have to be perfect to be loved. A place that made him realize that human beings are defined not by success, but by the wounds they are able to embrace. But the plan wasn't the only surprise, because on the eve of the launch of his personal kitchen project, which was named Emma's Room, because that's how he called the old kitchen chief of staff at the last second, Jungkook showed one documentary video. A secret video that was never published on YouTube, not on Weverse, not on VLive. Only played that night. And anyone who attended will never forget the last scene, a hidden camera footage in the military kitchen. Picture Jungkook sitting alone, the night before the farewell. His voice was quiet, almost inaudible. "If I could choose one place in the world to go back to, I'll come back here. Because this is where I finally found out that crying is not weakness. That I'm not a machine. That I can fall." And when the video ended, the room that had been full of applause went silent. Painful silence. The silence that makes tears fall is not because of sadness, but because of too sharp honesty. Then the biggest surprise came. Jungkook took the stage. Not to sing, but to introduce someone. An old man with a cane, dressed in a white apron. Yeah, the head of the kitchen. Still alive. Still smiling. And walked slowly towards the stage, assisted by the original kitchen staff from the military barracks. It turns out, Jungkook was secretly hiding the fact that the man had finished his treatment. He paid for everything. And now, the man is the head of the kitchen in Emma's Room. Can you hold back the tears when this happens? Even some of the senior idols present were seen wiping their eyes. One of them is the genie, who is also specially present. He approached Jungkook and hugged him tightly. In a low voice, he said, "You made a place that I never had a chance to build for myself. I'm proud." And when the night was over, the army in attendance knew Jungkook isn't just coming home from the military. He came home as a man bigger than a name. He came home with a mission to love unconditionally and to share a sanctuary for anyone who felt they had no space. Now the question is the entertainment industry ready to accept Jungkook, who no longer prioritizes perfection? Is the world ready to accept his new, more honest, more raw, more human works? And for US Army, are we ready to see a bolder side of Jungkook crying instead of pretending to smile? That night, before everyone went home, the kitchen staff handed out one small card to all.
the guests.
On it is written, "If you are tired of being light, come. Here you can be night, and we'll still love you." And